Ultimately, Alina and Bakari, that decision coming from the judge in the case today, not guilty verdicts for all 5 men involved, coming after we heard the judge speaking for hours today inside that London courtroom, giving the reasoning, the analysis behind her decision today. Joining me now is CP24 crime analyst Steve Ryan. You've been watching very closely this case play out. It was a trial that took up some 8 weeks in London, Ontario. I wonder what led up to this trial, because we know that initially charges were not laid in this case, and then they were. Tell me about the reasonable grounds to lay a charge to even bring a case like this forward.
Police need reasonable grounds to believe that a criminal offense has been committed to lay the charge, and that's defined as beyond mere suspicion. That threshold is not that great. To convict in court, in a criminal court, is beyond a reasonable doubt. That threshold is huge. And the practice of cross-examination, that is the fundamental cornerstone of our judicial process, and it is the fundamental test of withstanding or having a test of credibility. And in this particular case, in the judge's ruling, she found that the complainant was not credible, nor was she reliable. So her evidence was problematic for this judge, and this is why she acquitted all 5 of these hockey players. As
we were just hearing from several legal teams after that decision was handed down, they were speaking to media outside of that courthouse. One of the lawyers that we heard from, Doug Humphrey, and David Humphrey, rather, he represents Michael McLeod. He was pointing to and slamming this civil lawsuit, this civil decision that he said the players had no part in, that if they had known that was taking place, they would have pushed back to it. He's claiming that that gave the false impression of guilt in this case, something that we were just discussing as well with criminal defense lawyer Joseph Newberger, and that caught your attention.
It did. In 2018, the London police closed this case, saying that there were no criminal charges to be laid. Then they laid criminal charges without any new evidence, and the officer in charge was asked in court, what new evidence did you obtain to lay these charges? And there was none. So we had a chance to speak with Joseph Newberger, who I respect tremendously. He's a very good and experienced criminal defense lawyer. And he suggested that there may have been political pressure which caused the Crown to have this case go forward and have these criminal charges laid. If that's the case, and I'm not suggesting it is, but if that's the case, they have needlessly put not only these 5 accused through this process, but they put a woman through this process as well, if the Crown believed that there was no reasonable prospect of a conviction. I'm not suggesting that, but this is what's being suggested out in the public when it comes to 2018. No charges laid, then charges were laid without any new evidence. So it will be something that I'm sure will be looked into.
And we did hear from EM's lawyer, the lawyer for the complainant, saying that her client is disappointed with the verdict and also with the judge's assessment of her testimony in this case, calling her testimony not credible and not reliable. Certainly more reaction we are expecting on this to come over the coming hours, the coming days here. This is such a very high-profile trial. And Lena and Bakari, another update we are getting from Hockey Canada. They are saying in a lengthy statement that all players involved are still suspended. Will that change? Something to keep an eye on. Back to you. Okay,